Hello and welcome. My name is Richard Bössen and I'm XBA Product Manager at Amana Consulting. As you all know, IOPA T4U will only be available for creating Solvency-II reports until the end of 2017. We at Amana have developed a product that not only replaces T4U, but also makes it much easier to generate and interpret these reports. The XBRL portal allows you to use all XBRL taxonomies generically. In this case here, the Solvency-II taxonomies are stored in version 2.01 and 2.1 QRS for quarterly reporting and ARS for annual reporting. A new taxonomy can be added at the touch of a button. The validation rules are also simple to deactivate if IOPA declares them as deactivated. And of course, the QRTs can be used in Excel format as soon as you have added the taxonomy. Now, to create a report, I must go to the Filing menu and click Create Filing. At this point, I must select the reporting requirements, in this case Solvency II Annual Reporting 0, the relevant company and the due date. The system then presents me with the correct taxonomies, in this case 2.1, because this is the only one that applies to this date. Having selected an appropriate currency as your standard currency, I can choose whether to create the report in an editor or from a so-called data source. This might be a database, such as SAP BW or perhaps a CSV import. It's also possible to import from Excel, which I will explain in a separate video. Click on Create Filing to create the report, in this case in the editor. The editor is quite intuitive. I can start off by selecting QRT at the top, and the QRT is directly presented as a form for me to fill in. The spreadsheets are created generically from the taxonomy. So there's nothing that Amana has programmed in. It's just a visualization of the taxonomy. In content of the submission, I now simply select the relevant values from the reported for the basic information and for the balance sheet. The system won't allow you to enter inappropriate values. I've just selected the values from the list with a double click, so you can't go wrong. If I would enter an incorrect value, it will immediately be highlighted in red, as you have just seen. You can also insert values by copying and pasting. So here I am simply copying not reported with Ctrl-Z and pasting it into all the other cells with Ctrl-V. Of course, it works in exactly the same way if you want to copy from Excel. Now I will move on to the basic information. I've already prepared the basic information in Excel. So I just copy the values I need using Ctrl-Z and insert them with Ctrl-V directly into my spreadsheet. Now let's take a look at the balance sheet. I would like to demonstrate the XBRL portal's validation capabilities in the balance sheet again. I will enter a few values here. For example, an amount of 50,000 for investments, and then appropriate values for equities listed and unlisted. 50,000 equities, 40,000 listed and 0 unlisted. And then you can see immediately I've triggered a validation error because the sum of 40 and 0 obviously isn't 50. To make the balance sheet tally, I add total assets with copy and paste, 50,000 any other liabilities, total liabilities of course too. And then when I click on validate, the taxonomy is verifying, which of course refers to the business validation rules. The system immediately highlights two validation errors here in red. If I hold the mouse over those values, I can see directly where the problem lies. It's clear in this case that the sum doesn't add up. In this case, I can correct the mistake now by simply entering 10,000 and then clicking on validate again. Yes, the error is gone now. The report isn't completely valid yet because I obviously haven't filled all of the relevant QRTs. All validation errors are shown here in the lower half. Now to save the report, I click on Instance and then Save and Close. This validates the Expert file once more and stores it in the system, at the same time generating a corresponding Excel workbook, which I can use for analysis purpose. To look for a specific report, I open the Filings menu and go to Filing Overview. Here in the Filing Overview, I start off by resetting the filter so I can see my reports from the last of December 2016. Exactly. They are listed here and I can use the magnifying glass to see the details of each one. We can see I've got a version of the report here and it's not valid yet, as we saw in the editor. I can also download an Excel file here. The Excel workbook basically corresponds to all the QRTs I've reported where I've entered something. And any validation errors are also shown here, highlighted in red with a comment, so I can see at a glance what I still have to do. I can simply download the XBRL file itself with a mouse click. I will open this now just to give you an idea of what it looks like. Also, it's obviously not human readable. This file can be sent as it is directly to the local authorities. Now, if you want to edit the report, I can just click on the little pencil icon and this takes me back to the editor where I can make any necessary changes. When I now click on Save and Close, the system requests a comment. The reason being that as the new version has been stored, and so I can keep a record of any changes I've made to the report. I can find my reports, of course, in the Filing Overview where I can see the second version. Thank you for watching. If you would like to learn more about the Expert portal, please feel free to get in touch with us.